Hello, and once again, welcome to our fireside chat here in the Zero Project Conference 2026. Hello to the audience internationally and here live. We brought our colleagues and friends and a lot of other people watching us here on stage. Yeah, we're going to talk about accessible events, and we will also speak about and in easy language as good as we can. My name is Petra. I am usually the graphic facilitator here in the Zero Project Conference, but I'm also an expert on easy language. So I have the honor to have a conversation with Richard, who will just now introduce himself, and we'll talk about the topic of accessible events and why easy language is so important.
Thank you, Petra. My name is Richard Hamer. I work at Enable in Scotland, and we always have a saying which is demonstrate by doing. So today, I'm demonstrating by doing, by speaking, hopefully, with an easy language approach. Won't always work, but we'll make our best attempt.
Exactly, and we all have our different accents, so this is also one thing we have to consider when we speak to an international audience. Richard, let's get into it. We talked before right now. What are some features in events that we should look for when we want to make them accessible for everyone?
I suppose there's a key aspect, and there was somebody speaking yesterday at the conference who spoke about the issue of people thinking about accessibility as wheelchair ramps, as handrails, but not is the information itself easy to understand. So I think, Petra, it's important from a human rights point of view, and Enable very much starts from the human rights point of view, that everyone can understand and take part in an event and have their views. Obviously, there's laws as well, so it's really important that we make those changes that help everyone understand what is being said, and to make sure that people get the help and the support to contribute properly to the event. But there's also just that common sense bit, which is we're an amazing organization, amazing event, where hundreds of different languages are being spoken. It's quite amazing. And as a very poor language speaker myself, apart from English, then what works for me when I'm trying to speak a different language is to speak in small words, or to listen to somebody speaking in small words relatively slowly too. So that works for everyone.
Yeah, that's true. Decreasing the speed of speaking helps. It's not the only feature of easy language, but it does help. And you remember we just talked before, a conference like this, where there are so many people and so many speeches being held in very short slots, we realize that, as I just said, you have 8 minutes, and then you try to press in all the information in these 8 minutes, and actually the audience, no matter if they have a learning disability or not, are out of the game. It's like, okay, there was 8 minutes, and it was full of information, and I don't know if I grasped anything. How do you see that?
Oh, absolutely. But your graphic facilitation is interesting. So if we think about the amount of information you put on a sheet, it's very small compared to the amount of words that have been spoken in an event. Yet it's incredibly powerful, and it's very simple for people to remember. So I think there's something in that for us about how we think about how an event is planned, how it is actually delivered, and how we help those attending and those presenting to really communicate in an easy way. And that's not just when we go into one of the sessions here in a big room and listen to people speak. It's when we're having a coffee. It's when we're having a lunch, and we're talking to people. So that's the bit I think we need to work on to encourage people, because everyone's good. Everyone's good at changing their language to suit the situation.
Yeah, you just said before, right? It depends if you talk to your children or you're talking to your boss. You change your language anytime.
Absolutely. So when I came through security on Wednesday, what I wanted to say to the security staff was, hurry up, I want to get to the conference. But I didn't. I was very polite and was very restrained. And yes, when I speak to my boss, I probably swear less than I do with my friends in the bar.
You do swear? Sometimes.
when I ask my children, what do you want to do in the future? I don't say to them, what is your considered perception on the best career to be thinking about? So we all moderate our language in daily life. I think we just need to remind people to do so at events to make sure that they are accessible.
Yeah, you said something very important. Use your common sense. And don't pretend you're speaking to children when you're trying to provide information in simpler words and simpler. Is that grammatically correct? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm losing my language after 3 days. Being just more, considered on, am I using a difficult word, especially in German, when we have all these fancy words explaining something, or what helps me a lot when I try to translate into easier language, I look at my sign language interpreter colleagues and try to figure out what's the sign they are signing for this word. And then I'm like, I have to use my words for now, my hands for a second, but democracy, for instance, in Austrian Sign Language. So you free your hands and show that you're free. And with watching sign language and then putting that into spoken language, that helps me a lot, transferring things into, I hope, easier language.
That's interesting. I think also, and it's a very straightforward point to make, but there are always people who can help us to get better at improving language. So Heather, who I work with as a colleague and is also a self-advocate, and is here, just waving behind the camera at the moment, I asked her, how should we deliver easy language? So I'll quote from Heather. Mm-hmm. And Heather said, it's important, easy language, it's important so people can understand what you're saying. I constantly tell people off for using big words. Don't use big jargon or hard words that are difficult to understand. And that is very sensible and very straightforward. And I don't think it's beyond anyone attending a conference, anyone organizing a conference, or anyone speaking at a conference to have that in the back of their mind at all times.
Absolutely. This is exactly what I was trying to say before. Thank you, Heather, for putting it in so great words, making it understandable. One more thing about the so-called simple or easy language I figured out when working with self-advocates was that sometimes we assume too much of people that they already know, and then we tell people something, assuming that they know what we want to say. But sometimes I think we even have to step back and say, okay, what's the information behind it that I might have to deliver before I can say what I'm supposed to say? What's your
I think that's a really, really good point. Many years ago, when I was a younger person, I had a colleague, somebody I worked with, who would always use big language to try and show how good he was. And he talked of continuums. I had to go and look it up.
Okay.
And I suppose, so it's really important that we don't presume knowledge, but also, I suppose, Petra, I would say on the other side of things, it's always really, really important that we don't presume people do not have capacity simply because they don't understand what is happening in the conversation. So it's very easy to presume because somebody can't or is not being given easy language that they don't want to contribute, that they're not interested in contributing, or they don't understand what to say. And I think so our 2 points around that, I think are really solid things that people can use to improve their language.
Yeah, absolutely agree on that. Also, that's a matter of culture and ethics and how we face each other. The one thing is assuming that maybe I have to deliver more information than I was supposed to, but then on the other hand, assuming everybody's capable of understanding. One of the messages I always get from self-advocates is that I'm always being treated like a child, and people are talking to me like I'm an idiot. I'm not an idiot. I just might need a different way of explaining something, and please treat me as an equal. And that's one thing that really talks to my heart when I speak to people who are teaching me on what's the right thing to do.
Absolutely, and I think there's a big difference in a massive event with 1,000 people attending like this event, because we have to just try as well as we can to deal with so many different people's needs. But when we're holding a smaller event, I got to know Heather and also Holly, another of my colleagues here, many years ago at quite small events that they were running. And when we're holding a small event, we should be targeting, we should be really making sure that we understand each person's needs and really reflecting and ensuring that they have that individual thing that they need to help them engage, rather than generally providing something.
Yeah. As we were starting to wrap up the session, maybe these are the key points we should also deliver to our audience. Let's remember once again, I think from my point of view, the most important learning from 15 years of working with Zero Project, even though I haven't been here for 15 years, but almost, for all these years with the Zero Project conference, for instance, the main learning we gathered was do it together. Come up with solutions together, have the experts involved and having them, they have a say on how the guiding system for the blind is supposed to work. How, of course, wheelchair accessibility, yes, I think all of us here, we do all our best for wheelchair accessibility, and then today we have this snow catastrophe in Vienna, and we had people stuck on the way from the subway station to come to the UN. So, again, do it together, learn from experience, be respectful towards each other, and yeah, come up with solutions together and don't think you know just because you heard something.
And I think we can learn. So I've been listening and learning, as I should, attending such an important event like this. And I attended the session that was called AI for NGOs, so Artificial Intelligence for Non-Governmental Organizations. And I suppose the thing I took away from there, Petra, was try it. Just start using it. So I thought, hold on. There was a line that somebody said at the session I was in, which I didn't really get. I didn't understand. So I thought, oh, ChatGPT. What will it do to make easy language? So I told ChatGPT, take the following line, Outputs was the title. We created a multilingual e-learning platform open to the public since 2024. I said, take that and put it in easy language. It gave me, we made a learning website in many languages that has been open to everyone since 2024. Now, Heather, my colleague, said, that's much better. I think it's much better. So we're all experts now. ChatGPT is our friend. We can go there and just try. Now, we need still the user input to make sure that it still works and it is sensible. But I think it's just one of the tools that are available to us, as long as just having a bit more of thought about how we do these things.
Yeah. I would even say we can close it up here, but we have a few more minutes. Let's look at our audience here, because hello online, but everybody behind the camera. What's your take on easy language? I mean, we don't have much time for an answer, but maybe you want to shout out something to us so we can tell it to the audience in the clear language. Yeah, so Heather is telling us to use clear language. Speaking a little bit slower, is that one thing? Yeah. Easy words. Yeah.
How have we done, Heather?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Oh, we've done brilliantly.
Okay.
Hey, I'm taking that.
I'm taking that too. Thank you. Just for those of you who didn't hear, we got a very good. Okay. Well, we have 1 more minute left. What's your final message to our audience?
I think the most important thing to remember is to not think, oh, it's too difficult. I don't know, it would cost too much. I would need so much, because that's not always the case. So, and also we have to do the right amount of work for the size of organization, the size of event it actually is. So it's about just make an attempt. Use ChatGPT. Speak to people who are the experts, like my colleague Heather. Ask people, involve people. I suppose those are the sort of core things for people, but just don't be put off. Don't think it's too difficult, because it's not.
That's true. Yeah, so nothing about us without us. use easy language, especially in a conference that's international. That's all I want to say.
Thanks, Petra.
Thank you. Bye.